Hello, kids. Hope you are in good health. I am Neelam Srivastav and I'll be taking your literature class today. Children, as I read, you pay attention to the pronunciation of the words and the pauses and practice reading aloud at your home in the same manner. So the name of the lesson is Going to the Fair by E.B. White. The night before the fair, everybody went to bed early. Every lay dreaming that the Ferris wheel had stopped and that he was in the top car. Fawn lay dreaming that she was on the swings. When they pulled into the fairgrounds the next morning, they could hear the music and see the Ferris wheel turning in the sky. They could smell the dust and they could smell burgers frying. They could see balloons aloft. They could hear a flock of sheep bleating in their pens. "Can I have some money?" asked Fern. "Can I too?" asked Avery. "I'm going to win a doll by spinning a wheel, and it will stop by the right number," said Fern. "I'm going to steer a jet plane and bump it into another one," said Avery. "Can I buy a balloon?" asked Fern. "Can I buy frozen custard, a cheeseburger, and a balloon?" asked Avery. "You children, be quiet till we get the animals unloaded," said Mrs. Rebel. "Let the children go off by themselves," suggested Mr. Rebel. "The fair only comes once a year." Mr. Rebel gave Fern and Avery some pocket money. "Now run along," he said, "and remember, the money has to last all day. Don't spend it all in the first few minutes. Be back here at the truck at noontime so we can all have lunch together. And don't eat a lot of stuff that's going to make you sick to your stomachs. And if you go in those swings," said Mrs. Rebel, "you hang on tight. You hang on very tight. Hear me? Don't get dirty and don't get overheated," said their mother. "Watch out for pickpockets," warned their father. The children grabbed each other by the hands and danced off in the direction of the merry-go-round towards the wonderful music and the wonderful adventure and the wonderful excitement. Mrs. Rebel stood quietly and watched them go. Then she sighed. Then she blew her nose. "Do you really think it's all right?" she asked. "Well, they have got to grow up sometime," said Mr. Rebel. "And the fair is a good place to start, I guess." So now, children, I have finished reading this lesson. Before I start explaining, you tell me that how many of you have been to a fair? Yes, I know that you all have been, and I know that you love to go to the fairs. Okay, you tell me the name of the most popular fair of your area. Yes, it's the Ganesh Mela. So this lesson is also related to the same topic. In this story, there are four main characters: Mr. Arable, The father, Mrs. Rebel, the mother, Avery, their son, and Fawn, their daughter. This story begins one day before the fair. The family went to bed early so that the next morning they could leave for the fair early. As the kids were very excited and slept thinking about the fair, so their dreams were also related to the fair. And what were their dreams, children? Avery dreamt that the Ferris wheel had stopped and he was in the top car. And Fern dreamt that she was on the swings. So the next morning, finally, when they reached the fairgrounds, they could hear the music and see the Ferris wheel turning in the sky. They could smell the dust as there was dust in the air due to the crowd. They could smell the burgers that were frying. They could see the balloons up in the air. They could hear the flocks of sheep crying in their pens. Pen is a small area surrounded by a fence in which animals are kept. As they entered the fairground, the kids were attracted by the things around them and they started demanding money. Ford wanted to win a doll by spinning a wheel and buy a balloon, and Avery wanted to steer a jet plane and bump it into another one. He also wanted to buy frozen custard, a cheeseburger, and a balloon. But their mother scolded them for demanding money as the family was unloading the animals from the truck to be sold in the fair. But their father agreed and he gave some pocket money to them and told them to use it wisely. He instructed them to return at the truck at noon time for having lunch together. He also suggested them not to eat a lot of stuff because that could make their stomachs upset. As Mrs. Arable was worried about sending the kids alone in the fair, she also instructed the children to hang on tight when they go on the swings. She also told them not to get dirty and overheated. The father also warned them to be careful of pickpockets. Who are the pickpockets? Do you know, children? They are the people who steal money from others' pockets. After listening to their parents' instruction, the children held each other's hands and went dancing in the direction of the fair. Mrs. Arable stood quietly watching them. Then she took long deep breath and asked Mr. Arable that whether they were doing right by sending the children alone. Then Mr. Arable replied that as their kids were growing up and someday they have to leave their kids on their own, so the fair was a good place to start. Now kids, you note down the difficult words in your English 2 single ruled copy. The words are Ferris wheel, fairgrounds, bleating, pickpockets, grabbed, side. Now after this, you will write down the meaning of the words given at the bottom of each page. Okay kids, that's all for today. Have a nice day.